Hello and welcome to Period Styles. In this video, we'll be going over the syllabus and the course contents. Log on to the Canvas page and download the PDF syllabus if you haven't already so you can follow along. Also this week, you're going to want to watch the second lecture, which will be on Mesopotamia and Egypt, and we'll be talking more about that in just a second. But here's the syllabus, so let's look at that together. The course description. So of course, we'll be meeting asynchronously, which means we will only be doing this. We'll be meeting online, and the content will be entirely presented to you on Canvas, and the deadlines and responsibilities for uploading those documents of various types that we're going to talk about will be on you to upload them to Canvas on the deadlines that are listed in this document. But I've designed this course to function very well online and to be very straightforward for you. And so I'm also available at any time via email or by Zoom to have a meeting and talk about anything that comes up. In fact, it'd be a great idea to open an email right now and type in any questions that come up during this time so that you can send that to me and I'll get right back to you. Cool. The course description. This course provides an introduction to the major periods, styles, and trends in architecture, interior decor, and clothing throughout global history, particularly as they relate to theater design. So you might ask yourself, why does the theater department have a history class about world history? And it's because no matter where you go with theater in the future, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a designer, whether you're a director, or anything else, you will be doing lots of research on the setting and the content of the plays that you're working on. And this course is meant to be an overview. We're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to talk about really what people did or why people did it, but we are going to talk about the things they lived inside and the things that they wore and the things that they sat on, because all of that will give you a good basis for understanding how things should look. And we are going to talk a little bit about broad historical movements because that will give you some context for each of the periods that we're going to talk about. And the why people make decoration the way they do or why clothing looks the way it does is influenced by the time that people live in. And to understand that will really empower you as a theater practitioner going forward. So that's our main goal here for this course. We are going to be covering all of human history, and so the pace is going to be really, really brisk. But look at it more as each of these periods is a snapshot that you can get the basics of, and that will empower you to do more research and ask more questions. Um, so, the learning outcomes. Our goals are that you will be able to assess historical period and style, determine purpose and intention of functional and formal elements. So, a functional element would be a door, you can close it behind you. A formal element would be the shape and the decoration on that door. And those two things make up a lot of what a culture would bring to a particular element. We're going to discuss outcomes of technological progress. We're going to research major historical influence on architecture and fashion, and you will be able to synthesize research into a creative project. So we're going to have two projects that are creative projects. We're going to talk about that in just a second. You're not going to need a book. I'm going to give you all of the reading materials as PDFs and basic materials like internet access, blank paper and pencil, and other basic supplies to just do regular stuff. So our assignments. This course is going to be made up of these things right here under course summary and assignments. That is what you'll be graded on. There's 4 vocabulary quizzes. I've tried to reduce the amount of vocabulary that you have to memorize in this course. There's an infinite amount that could be over the thousands of years of human history. But we're just going to have 4 10-point quizzes on vocabulary that'll be made up of about 10 questions of general concepts that are really, really good for you to be able to carry forward as you leave this class. Discussion posts. There are 4 discussion posts about how some of the time periods relate to us and our time and how their historical context may relate to our historical context. The big projects, there's going to be 2 design a play projects. Now you don't have to design a whole play with a model and a dress form, but what we're going to do is we're going to collect research about a specific topic. We'll talk about it more in a second. And then there will be a final exam of the content of the course. So those points there make up 100 points of your grade. And so it's really clear in this class what each one individual point will add up to at the end. Great. I already talked about how this class is online. So there will be lectures. I'll be posting the lecture videos on each topic uh, on the week or before that it's listed in the calendar below. The lectures will contain the vocabulary for the quizzes and the historical context for the projects. Reading assignments will be posted with supplementary content. They're ungraded, but they are going to be short and interesting, so check them out. We'll have quizzes, discussion posts, like I talked about, and the design a play project. So twice during this class, once for the older content and once for the relatively newer content, like the more recent periods, you will select a play script from the works of Shakespeare or another playwright that you could argue could be timeless. They could be set in any time at all. That's what's important here, is that the story could be set in any one of these time periods. Because what you're going to do, select one of the time periods from that section. You'll select a location and a corresponding style as the setting of your play. And you will present this idea as a series of images with descriptions. So you're going to go through the script and make a scene list, and then find images online that relate to your period and style and work for the needs of the play. Entrances, levels, stairs. Romeo and Juliet needs a balcony, for instance. Next, find images of people wearing clothing from the period and pick out ones that could be the major characters. And so you're going to be graded on this based on one, country and time period research collection. So 20 images of the country and the time period and the style that go together and kind of they visually relate, or you feel they relate to your play. Two, scene and location list. With images for each location in the play, or one location that you think could be a unit set, like the whole play could be performed in this location. It has the needs, stairs, doors, what have you. Three, the character list. So a list of all the characters and then pictures of major characters wearing period clothing. And four, a 2 full-page paper on why the events of the play relate to the time period and place you've chosen for historical and aesthetic reasons, and how your images fulfill the needs of the locations, entrances, exits, levels. Uh, Make it a regular paper, Times New Roman 12, 1-inch margins, double spaced. That's a pretty short paper, so it should be, really we're just looking for, I chose this period and I chose this style because the events of the play relate to it in some kind of way, in the way that it looks, or the way that the people were, or the way that the time was and that culture. It's very general and very open. Okay, great. So to create these collages or these image collections, for much of them, it's just a collection of individual images that you have saved to your computer, and you're going to present that in a PowerPoint or in a Word document of some kind. If you so choose, and for things like the set locations, you may want to make an image collage, or you may want to, let's say, find some figures and then paste the costumes onto them. Maybe you can't find Babylonian costumes for Romeo and Juliet. And so maybe you want to do little sketches. That's all great, and that's all more valuable. I would highly recommend that photop.com here is a free software that you can actually just do it all online, and it functions almost exactly like Photoshop if you've ever used that. But regardless, you don't need to be a Photoshop expert to do this class. Image collections and image choices, and choosing a style or time period that there is a lot of content online is one of the keys to making this straightforward as a project for you. Okay? Any questions about that? Let's talk it out. Just send me an email or let's do a Zoom. Okay. So I'm going to be publishing the class content as quickly as I can. And all of the assignments and the discussions you will see are open at least a week before they're due and a week after they're due. However, I will say that one of the biggest problems that people are having in online learning is managing their own time, because there's almost, if you don't have a deadline, for a lot of people, a lot of the time, it makes it harder to get something done. And so I have put very specific deadlines in here for everything that we're going to be doing. And the best thing that you can do is to do all of those things by that deadline or before, because it helps you move on the next week, and you don't get to a point where you have 2 or 3 weeks of stuff to do and it becomes unobtainable and it feels hard because we're not meeting and there's not FaceTime. So I'm here as a resource. Anything that you need, please reach out to me. And let's stay in touch week by week about how this is all going. Great. So the first week is this. Here we are, Introduction and Syllabus, and also check out that lecture on Mesopotamia and Egypt. And on Wednesday, by Wednesday, I will have posted a reading assignment. The second week on Monday, we're going to be closed for Martin Luther King. It's not going to matter, but I will post a lecture at least by the Wednesday. That will be on the Americas. Week 3 will be Ancient China and Asian influences. Week 4, Greece, Rome, and early Europe. Week 5, the Middle Ages overview, Byzantine and Moorish. Week 6, Romanesque and Gothic. Week 7, Italian and French Renaissance. Week 8, English Renaissance, Tudor and Elizabethan. Week 9, Baroque and Rococo and Palladian. Week 10, we're on spring break. Week 11, Neoclassicism of its various types. Week 12, Art Nouveau and Beaux Arts. Week 13, Mission Revival, Arts and Crafts and Craftsmen. Week 14, Art Deco and Futurism. And week 15, Modernism, Prairie, Brutalism, and Shed Style. And the next week, Neo-Modern, Sustainable Blobotecture, and Parametric. And so for each of these weeks here, all of these dates, you can see where a discussion post is due, and those are right on Canvas under assignments. You can see where a quiz is due, and those are under assignments too on Canvas. And you can see where the big projects are due. So it should be very clear and straightforward. And I will post a document about these projects to try to give you more specific information, but it's also very much up to you how far you want to take it and what piques your interest, because the whole point of this is to give you something creative to do that you can delve into one of these styles more specifically or two of these styles more specifically and find some interest for yourself that you enjoy. Cool. And as you go forward, like I said, synthesizing research into a creative project is the entire purpose of this, that you'll be able to do this in your career. Cool. So the final exam will be the next week, whatever slot we get assigned, we'll find out. Yeah. The rest of this information in the syllabus is regular stuff that would be in the syllabus. You can check it out yourself. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Just send me an email or we can have a Zoom about it. If you need any accommodations, feel free to contact me or go through the process that is listed right here. Move on now to the next video on Mesopotamia in Egypt, and thank you very much. I'm looking forward to this class a lot.